So to continue what we're talking about, I was talking about وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ, and I gave you guys a actual experience that I've seen. And there's many experiences of people who turn, and you guys also probably have experienced other things in your life when you went to school or work. But for me, I'm talking about someone who's, even the ulama can debate if this individual is a Muslim or not, but it's saying that he never prays. He doesn't have a family. He doesn't have a wife or children. Doesn't have anyone to call him uncle, grandfather. Will never have that. Never experienced that. Because simply he turned away from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he chose working in the life of this dunya and making that money, putting in that grind. And then that grind is not going to get him anywhere in the Day of Judgment. Right? So, regarding hayat dunya, Hassan Basri rahimahullah, he says, it's reported that he used to say, "O people, work for the akhirah, for I have not seen anyone who works for the dunya and gets to akhirah, but I have seen those who work for the akhirah, even the dunya chases them." The dunya chases them. They get everything they want in the dunya, and everything that they can benefit from the dunya, bifadlillahi ta'ala, and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's permission, simply because they chose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they chose the hereafter. But those who choose the dunya, they get nothing of the akhirah. Right? And we see that the hayat dunya, from the many examples I gave you guys before salah, is very little. إِنَّ الْحَيَاةَ قَلِيلَةٌ لَذَّاتُهَا وَالْمَوْتُ فِيهَا هَادِمُ اللَّذَّاتِ. The death, and death in itself, is what destroys these pleasures. You can have Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Brother Muhammad told us Rolls Royce. I don't know if I'm saying it properly, but any of these cars, or any of these wealth that you might have, children, whatever you may have, wallahi, the harsh reality is, they're all going to leave you. Your own children. On the Day of Judgment, the harsh reality is, they're all going to leave you, and nothing's going to support you that you did in this dunya except the amal salih and khair that you did. That's the harsh reality. That is the harsh reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Nur, He talks about specific individuals who chose the akhirah. And they chose the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over this dunya. He says, رِجَالٌ لَا تُلْهِيهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ رِجَالٌ لَا تُلْهِيهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَإِقَامِ الصَّلَاةِ وَإِيتَاءِ الزَّكَاةِ يَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا تَتَقَلَّبُ فِيهِ الْقُلُوبُ وَالْأَبْصَارُ. Allah talks about specific individuals. He says there are men whom neither commerce, business, Tesla, or what's the other businesses? Apple, some big businesses. Help me out, guys. Lenovo, the laptop here, Adidas, Nike. None of these businesses, they didn't work for businesses and gaining that money, gaining that dough or bread, whatever you want to call it. They didn't grind for that. Nor did sales or money distract them. Nothing of this hayat dunya distracted them from remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their performance of prayer, salah, and also giving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and zakah. Simply because they fear a day in which the hearts and eyes will fearfully turn about, meaning they fear Yawm al-Qiyamah. They worship and live this life in fear and in thinking of the Day of Judgment. This is these individuals Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. Because they have understood that the commerce and the money, whatever they might make, is useless to them in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the day when you stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Day of Judgment, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to speak to you specifically, where there's no translator for you, no one to speak for you. It's just you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your a'mal in front of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that day, there is no evidence or anything like that where Allah is going to ask you about the money you made. He's going to ask you, how did you spend your money? How did you stay on this dunya and this hayat? The simplest of it is, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إلا إيش؟ إلا ليعبدون. وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. The only reason that I created mankind and jinn is for them to worship me and worship me alone. ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون. I don't need any rizq from them. Because He is Ar-Razaq. He is the one that gives the rizq. He is Al-Ghani. He is He does everything for Himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does it for Himself and for every creation. He doesn't need nothing from you. He doesn't need your money. In fact, the harsh reality is, He doesn't need your salah. He doesn't need your zakah. He doesn't need your hajj. He doesn't need your sadaqah. Allah doesn't need these things from you. You're doing it for yourself. وَمَا تَفْعَلُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ. It's for yourself. You're not going to benefit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any way or form. Nor is your wealth or that money you're making, that big business you have, that big job you have, I work for D&D, I'm a director general, I'm making 100K a year. It doesn't matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the rizq that Allah gave you. Then He's going to ask you, how did you spend your rizq? I gave you the ni'mah of life and youth. And our brother Ilyas was talking about that. You were young at some point in time. You spent your time grinding and trying to get that best car, those best shoes. That was a ni'mah, that age and that time. How did you spend it? Oh Allah, I spent it trying to get the best Gucci, the best Louis Vuitton. No. That's not going to help you. It's not going to help you, my brothers and sisters. It's not going to help you. What's going to help you is the a'mal that you do. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bring in front of you on the Day of Judgment. We're going to end here, inshallah. Because if I keep talking, I'm never going to finish. So we're going to stop here. You guys get the point, right? Earlier we talked about being young and Muslim. You see, all these topics have a connection. Then we talked about how to increase your iman and stay steadfast while you're young and in this dunya. Then we talked about your role models. Who should you have as role models? Should I have LeBron James as a role model? When I was doing my Seerah class, prophetic series, a few weeks ago, and I kind of gave them an example. I said, what would happen right now? So we're sitting here together right now. What would happen if LeBron James walked in right now? Let's be honest with each other. We're not going to lie to each other here. What would happen if LeBron James right now walked in? One brother. The sisters don't really care as much. But one brother. What would happen if LeBron James came in right now? Right now, he just walked in the door. What would happen? Let's be honest with each other, Allah, yeah? Everyone's going to get excited. Everyone's going to start to jump. Some people might even faint. Out of, just the love they have for this individual. Right? That's the reality. But if we have one of our mashayikh, one of the ulama walk in, you don't even know them. Who's this guy? Why is everyone coming here? No one cares. Because we choose the dunya and those that love the dunya. And then the ayah we saw Abdul Hayy use, وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Because the most people on this earth, يحبون الدنيا. يحبون الدنيا والمال والأولاد. This is what they love. والسيارات. This is what they love, so we follow them. And we think this is what we have to do. Then we talked about this final topic, which is the dunya, the fleeting bliss. And then after this, inshallah, we're gonna have our pizza, our snacks, and then we're gonna have the brothers ask one question to the brothers and sisters. We have 3 gift cards, and so like I said, it's gonna have a little bit spice. Spice means a little spice. Questions, not easy, because we'll have 3 gift cards. If I ask you a very easy question, then the gift card is gonna be a little bit, not gonna be as worth it, right? So inshallah, we're gonna end here. بإذن الله تعالى. قل ما تسمعون استغفر الله لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نستغفرك